Keek on the mic, Keek on the mic, Keek on the mic, Keek on the mic. People, this the intro. Sacramento, California, born and raised. In Antelope is where I spend most of my days. Talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you also follow me on all my social media platforms to stay connected with all Keek on the Mic news. So, Bears fans, as you guys know, the Chicago Bears 2023 schedule came out last week. Obviously, I was busy going through my wedding and all that stuff, so I didn't really get a chance to address it. But today on Keek on the Mic, I will be giving you guys my 2023 Chicago Bears record prediction. And I'm super excited for this season because I know I'm just saying this because I'm a Bears fan, but I'm also truly optimistic that the Bears will be better than last year. And I think you guys will agree with me. So today on the podcast, like I just mentioned, I will be going through each and every single one of the Chicago Bears opponents, every single game, and giving you guys my win and loss predictions for the Chicago Bears 2023 NFL season. When you look at the schedule, and I have it on the screen right now, the first thing that I know is that the Bears have 4 primetime games, which is pretty interesting to me. Usually when you get the number 1 overall pick, you don't have a lot of primetime games. But I think the reason why the Bears even got 4 primetime games is because Justin Fields. Justin Fields are going to make the Bears interesting to watch. Obviously, you add a guy like DJ Moore, so it makes a lot of sense why the Bears actually do have a couple of primetime games. So they have 2 Thursday night games. They have a Sunday night football game against the Los Angeles Chargers, which is going to be an interesting one. And they also have a Monday night football game against the Vikings. So it's going to be interesting. I do like how the schedule played out for the Chicago Bears. So without further ado, I am going to give you guys my win-loss predictions for the Chicago Bears. And like always, as I'm going through each and every game, let me know if it's going to be a win or a loss for the Chicago Bears. I can't wait to hear from you guys. Starting off with week 1, the Chicago Bears will be hosting the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, this is going to be the first time meeting the Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers. And let me tell you, thank God, the Chicago Bears do not have to stress about Aaron Rodgers coming to Soldier Field and breaking our hearts once again. But all in all, this is going to be a matchup between Justin Fields and Jordan Love. Obviously, Green Bay is going to have a pretty good defensive line. Obviously, they still have that 2-headed monster and Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, so they're still going to be pretty decent. They're not going to be a terrible football team. When I look at the Green Bay Packers, if Jordan Love can just play decent, the Green Bay Packers will be a pretty good football team because they do have some pieces around Jordan Love. But all in all, this is going to be Jordan Love's first game, right, as the true starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. And I think he will struggle just quite a bit. And I do think the Chicago Bears beat the Green Bay Packers at home at Soldier Field to start out the season 1-0. Moving on, we travel to week 2, going to Tampa Bay. And I also think the Chicago Bears win this one. Obviously, Tom Brady is gone. I believe it's going to be Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask starting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a team that is kind of aging. They will have pieces around their starting quarterback. Their defense is still going to be pretty decent. But I think the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields will be riding high off that week 1 win against the Green Bay Packers. And I truly think that the Chicago Bears start off the season at 2-0. Moving on to week 3, we travel to Arrowhead to take on the defending Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. And I think this is where the Chicago Bears suffer their first loss against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Bears will go in and try their best to play good football, and I think they will be competitive for most of the game. But I think obviously we all know that the Kansas City Chiefs are just a way better football team than the Chicago Bears at this point in time. So I think the Chicago Bears dropped this one to move their record to 2-1. Then they travel back to Soldier Field week 4 to take on the Denver Broncos. And this is a game that is kind of interesting to me because we saw how bad that Russell Wilson played last season. But obviously now you add in Sean Payton, right? They're getting a couple guys back, right? So this is going to be a very tough game for the Chicago Bears to win. This can go either way. And I know some people may say this is going to be a loss, and it can very well be a loss. But this can very well be a win as well. Just for the purpose of this video, And just thinking where I think the Chicago Bears are going to be at, I also think we dropped this game against the Denver Broncos, dropping a record to 2-2. But like I just mentioned, I also think that this can be a win for the Chicago Bears as well. Moving on to week 5, we travel to Washington for a Thursday night football matchup against the Commanders. And this is a game that I think the Bears can win. There's going to be a couple of winnable games for the Chicago Bears this year. Obviously, there was a couple of winnable games last year for the Chicago Bears, and they did not get it done. Obviously, we played Washington last year. I thought we should have beat Washington last year. Everyone knows how I feel about that. Obviously, when you look at the Washington Commanders, they still have a very good defensive line. Obviously, you have Terry McLaurin on the offense side of the football. So this is going to be a tough game. This is not going to be an easy game for Chicago Bears, but I do think it's a winnable game for the Chicago Bears. So I do think the Chicago Bears go into Washington and take this one on Thursday Night Football, improving their record to 3-2. Then we have our first meeting against the Minnesota Vikings in week 6 at Soldier Field. And I think the Vikings are still going to be a good football team. Obviously, you still have Kirk Cousins. He played very well last year. Obviously, you still have Justin Jefferson. You added Jordan Addison. That's going to make their offense dynamic. You still have Dalvin Cook if he's there or not. So the Minnesota Vikings are still going to be good. Even though they didn't perform well in the playoffs, they're still going to be a true threat in the NFC North. And I do think the Chicago Bears lose this one at home against the Minnesota Vikings, dropping their record to 3-3. Then we come back home week 7 against the Las Vegas Raiders for another home matchup at Soldier Field. Once again, I'm pretty high on Jimmy Garoppolo, especially in the regular season. Obviously, I'm not high on Jimmy Garoppolo when it gets to the postseason. I think Jimmy Garoppolo will be good for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I feel like the Las Vegas Raiders will be pretty good of a football team. So at this point in time, I feel like this is going to be a tough game for the Chicago Bears, and I also have the Chicago Bears dropping this one to the Raiders, dropping their record to 3-4. Then we go to Los Angeles to take on, to me, a very tough Los Angeles Chargers football team on Sunday Night Football. Obviously, this is when we're going to meet Khalil Mack once again. I know he is itching to play the Chicago Bears in this game, and I am truly terrified for this game because this is going to be, to me, a very tough game, but I feel like this is also going to be a very good game. I feel like this is going to be one of the surprises on Sunday Night Football. I was pretty shocked when they did put us against the Chargers on Sunday Night Football, but I can see this being a shootout between Justin Herbert and Justin Fields. But once again, at this point in time, obviously the Chargers, to me, are the better football team than the Chicago Bears. So I also have the Chicago Bears dropping this one on Sunday Night Football to the Los Angeles Chargers, dropping their record to 3-5. Then we travel to New Orleans to take on the Saints in week 9. And this is a game that I feel like the Chicago Bears can win. And I do think they will win this football game, improving their record to 4-5. Then we take on the Carolina Panthers on Thursday Night Football at Soldier Field. This is going to be DJ Moore's chance to get his revenge on his old football team. At this time, I'm not sure if Bryce Young will be the starting quarterback or if it will be Andy Dalton, but I'm pretty sure it will be Bryce Young against Justin Fields on Thursday Night Football at Soldier Field. I think this is going to be a pretty entertaining football game, but I do think the Chicago Bears are the better football team, and I think we beat the Carolina Panthers at home on Thursday Night Football to improve our record to 5-5. Then we travel to Detroit in week 11. And this is going to be a tough game. I think Detroit, when I look at the Detroit Lions, I just think they are a year ahead of us in terms of their rebuilding. I guess it just depends on how Jared Goff plays. Obviously, he played really good last year for the Detroit Lions. I'm not sure if he's going to do it again. Obviously, this is going to be David Montgomery's first opportunity to play against his old team in the Chicago Bears. So I know he's looking forward to this one. And this is going to be a good game. I think the Bears will be competitive. I think the Bears can beat the Detroit Lions. I truly do. But I can definitely seeing us drop this game against the Lions. So I'm going to give the Lions the win over the Chicago Bears here, dropping our record to 5-6. Then we travel to Minnesota for a Monday Night Football game against the Vikings. And once again, this is going to be a tough game. Any game in the division is going to be tough for the Chicago Bears. But surprisingly, I have the Chicago Bears actually splitting with the Minnesota Vikings and beating them on Monday Night Football to improve their record to 6-6. Then the Bears enjoy a bye week on week 13. I do like how the bye week for the Chicago Bears is later in the season. Kind of get our legs refreshed for the last half of the season. At this point in time, how my record prediction shapes up, we are now 6-6. So hopefully this means the Bears can maybe make a push for the wild card. So I think having a late bye in week 13 will be beneficial for the Chicago Bears. So after the bye week in week 14, the Detroit Lions travel to Soldier Field for the second matchup against the Chicago Bears. And I also have the Chicago Bears splitting with the Detroit Lions. And I think we beat the Detroit Lions off our bye week to improve our record to 7-6. Then we travel to Cleveland to take on Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. This is a week 15 matchup with the Browns. Obviously, this is going to be Deshaun Watson's second season with the Browns. I think he's going to be a lot better. Obviously, I feel like he kind of underperformed last year, but I do feel like Deshaun Watson with the Browns in the second year is going to be a lot better. I think this is going to be a good game. I guess it just depends on how Justin Fields plays, how our defense looks, where are the injuries at this point in time for the Chicago Bears. But I do also have the Chicago Bears dropping this one in Cleveland to the Browns and moving their record to 7-7. Then we come back home to Soldier Field in week 16 and take on the Arizona Cardinals. At this point in time, I'm not sure if Kyler Murray is going to be back in the lineup, who's going to be their quarterback. Obviously, Arizona's kind of going through this weird transition phase where they're looking like they may need to start rebuilding. So I'm not sure how good Arizona is actually going to be. But I think we're going to beat the Arizona Cardinals at Soldier Field to improve our record to 8-7. Then we come back home to Soldier Field. So we have back-to-back home games in week 17 to play the Atlanta Falcons. This is another game that I think the Chicago Bears can very well win. I think they will win at home at Soldier Field to improve their record to 9-7. Then week 18, the finale, we travel to Lambeau Field to take on Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers to end the season. We're going into Lambeau Field at 9-7, and this game to me is absolutely a toss-up. But I have a feeling that once Aaron Rodgers left, once he got traded to the New York Jets, I felt like this was the Chicago Bears' time to finally shift this rivalry. And I think this season, the Chicago Bears will, in fact, sweep the Green Bay Packers, beat them twice, once at home, once in Lambeau Field, and that would put their record and end the season at 10-7. And I think that should be a good enough to maybe make it as a wild card. And I know a lot of people may be saying, Keek, you're crazy, but I truly think that the Chicago Bears can sweep the Green Bay Packers, end the season at 10-7. And to me, I feel like 10 wins is the ceiling for the Chicago Bears. And I feel like the floor is probably like 6 wins. So I think they can either go 10-7 or 6-11, because I know a lot of these games could be toss-ups. A lot of the wins I give the Chicago Bears, you guys may disagree. You may say, you know what, Keek? I don't think the Bears will win that game in Washington. I don't think they're going to beat the Saints. Maybe some of you guys may say, oh, maybe they will beat the Chargers. Maybe they'll have more than 10 wins. I don't know. But to me, as a Bears fan, realistically, I can see the ceiling being 10-7 and the floor being 6-11 for the Chicago Bears this season. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below in the comment section what record you give the Chicago Bears for the upcoming 2023 NFL season. I can't wait to hear and see your guys' predictions. Before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, back for all new Bears podcasts right here on Keek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic.